Well, we always talk about growing herbs and vegetables, but then how do you use them in real creative ways in the kitchen? Well, Brian and I both love cooking.
Yes.
You know, we spend a lot of time in the kitchen. He's come up with some great creative ideas that you really want to see, and I'm telling you, the smell in here is fantastic. Nice job.
I love the smell of herbs. Cooking has become a passion of mine, and kind of as a byproduct of gardening. I had all this produce coming out of the garden, an herb garden, and I thought, well, how am I going to use it? And so I started cooking, and now I enjoy cooking as much as I enjoy gardening.
Yeah. So what kind of herbs do you have at your house?
I have just about everything. I have basil and thyme and rosemary. I have a rosemary that's enormous, that's that big, and I use it for all. It's one of the, in fact, you'll notice when we start talking about this, I've got rosemary in just about everything.
Yeah.
And oregano, and just about every herb that you got. And then I've got ornamental herbs like catmint. You know, I grow every herb possible. I also grow things like stevia, which is a sweet substitute for sugar. And so I grow everything, and I like to use everything too.
Yeah. Well, and the nice thing about whenever you harvest the herbs, it just helps the plant.
That's right. The more that you harvest the herbs, the fuller the plant gets and the more healthy that your plant's going to be.
Yeah, so it works out great for everybody. Well, let's start with this dish first. This is just beautiful.
Yes.
And at first I thought it was just a wooden skewer, but it's not.
Yes, that's actually a piece of rosemary that's skewered on, and that's a particular rosemary called barbecue. And I wanted to keep all these recipes very simple. That's important to me when I'm cooking because I'm still not the greatest at it, and so I want to keep all my recipes simple, something that everyone can do. And one thing when you're using a rosemary skewer or any skewer, you want to soak it. So I soak those for about 2 or 3 hours to get them full of water, so when I put them on the grill, they didn't burn up, although they burnt up quite a bit, but they didn't burn completely up. And the way I started this recipe, I started it with a marinade, and that's the key. And I used melted butter. And I know that's not the healthiest thing, but I just love butter. And I actually added a little bit of olive oil in there as well. And then to that, I added about 1/4 cup of this rosemary, chopped very fine, and quite a bit of this lemon thyme. And then this is another one of my favorites. That is lemon verbena. Take a smell of that. It really has a strong lemon smell. And lemon and chicken to me go so well together. And so I marinated this chicken in a roasting pan. I just put the oil and the butter and all the herbs together, marinated in a roasting pan for about 8 hours. Then I pulled the roasting pan out of the fridge and put it right in the oven. And I cooked the chicken in the oven to make sure it was done. I didn't want to skewer it with vegetables and then try to burn up the vegetables while I was cooking the chicken. So I just cooked it until it was done, and then last night I skewered it all, and then this morning I put it on the grill for about 10 minutes and just turned it a few times and grilled it fresh this morning.
So you've got not only the marinated chicken, but it looks like red pepper and red
onion. You could also do cherry tomatoes. You can do just about any vegetable that you like, and then I just skewered them on there. And then put it on the grill, and it was really easy.
Very pretty. And next to this, I love the look of that. How
yes,
fun.
That's one of my favorites, and I make that all the time. It makes a great hors d'oeuvre or just a snack. And what this is it's mozzarella cheese cut into cubes. And then I made a marinade for that, and that marinade for that has everything in it. It's got rosemary, a whole bunch of rosemary. It's got thyme. It's got oregano. It's got parsley. And then I marinate make the marinade, and then that is sun-dried tomato, and that it's also a basil leaf. So each one gets a sun-dried tomato and a basil leaf on top of it. And then I pour the marinade over it. Before I put these in, I pour the marinade over it and then let it sit overnight in the marinade to get the cheese really, the herb flavor infused into the cheese.
Yeah, and these are the sun-dried tomatoes that are already packed.
Those are the sun-dried tomatoes.
Okay.
And also a little garlic powder goes in the marinade as well. And then the base of the marinade is olive oil.
And so is that the same kind of rosemary, that barbecue that has the strong stick to it?
Yes, it sure is.
You can use just a regular, stick. I mean,
any rosemary will do it. Any skewer will do.
Yeah.
But I think it looks so cool with the rosemary.
It is awesome.
And then you can pick it up with the rosemary and just eat it just like that with the rosemary stick. And I also use several different colors of basil. You notice that's a white variegated basil. I use some green basil, and then I use some purple basil just to add some color variation to them.
And then whatever you've got coming out in your garden.
That's right. And then this morning I just stuck all of the skewers in there, and it was ready to go. Again, both of these are things you can prepare beforehand, and real easy if you have a party coming up or something like that.
Great appetizers. They're very colorful.
Yes.
And so what's next to it?
This is another one of my favorites. This is a dip that I use for crackers or chips, and it's again very, very simple dip, and it starts with this whipped cream cheese, and it's got 2 cartons of whipped cream cheese in it, and about a 1/2 cup of sour cream. And you can use low fat, I don't, I use the real stuff. And then it's got salt and pepper, and then it's got these herbs here. It's got oregano and thyme and parsley and a whole bunch of finely diced garlic. And then, again, you put it in the refrigerator overnight, and all those flavors blend together. And you can use it with crackers, or you can use it with chips. And real easy, real simple.
That's very. And by the way, in case you're not writing any of this down, as I don't expect you to do, we are going to have this on at tlcgarden.com and also on our Facebook page.
That's right.
And so then you have another one, and I couldn't figure out what to call this after you told me what was in it. But this is something that you and your kids make a lot.
Yes, this is one of my daughter Jessica's favorites, and she makes it all the time after school because it's just so easy to make, and it's also very healthy. I know some of this other stuff had a lot of butter and oil in it. This is relatively healthy. It has got Greek yogurt, and make sure to do the vanilla Greek yogurt. I tried it with regular Greek yogurt, and it doesn't. It's not quite as good. It's not quite as sweet as with the vanilla Greek yogurt. And then you just put the Greek yogurt. That's 2 cups of Greek yogurt, a little bit of vanilla, a couple tablespoons of honey to give it some sweetness, and very little of the cinnamon. It's probably got an eighth of a teaspoon of cinnamon because it's really easy to overdo the cinnamon. And all you do is mix all that up, and you can use, oh yeah, the biggest thing is mint. And I love mint, and you can see there's so much mint. That's the only herb in there. There's probably 50 or 60 mint leaves, probably close to a half a cup of mint leaves that I chopped up really fine, and then I put it in there. And again, it's best to do it ahead of time because then you put it in the refrigerator and all those flavors will meld together and really come out nice the next day, which is great because if you're having a party or something like that, it's great to just get it done early.
Exactly. And so you serve this with fruit.
Yes, I serve this with, my daughters always do with apples, but I think it would be great with strawberries. It would be great with just about any type of a fruit at all.
Oh, this is fantastic. Well, then, so if someone is motivated, they're seeing what you're doing here, and they're like, man, I'd really like to have an herb garden. I never have. Give us some ideas about what would you recommend if you had, say, a relatively small space. Give us like your top 4 or 5 herbs.
You can't go wrong with rosemary because it comes back every year. And I always like basil. It's easy to grow from seed. You can't go wrong with oregano and thyme. And then I always like to grow a little bit of parsley as well. And if you have limited space, remember you can do herbs in containers, and they do great in containers. And I like that because you can put them on the back patio, on the deck, and that way they're easy access. And I've always found if you keep your herbs close to the kitchen, you'll be more likely to use those herbs.
Absolutely.
If they're far off in the yard, you have to walk a long ways, you're a lot less likely to use those herbs.
And you can stick them in with other container plants too.
That's right. Herbs are beautiful and do wonderful in the garden.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Brian. I'm proud of you. You're doing great.
Let's eat.